My fiancé cheated while I was planning our honeymoon, so I let her family know exactly what their perfect daughter did. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and I really believed I'd found my forever person. Her name was Claire. We met at a friend's New Year's Eve party, and from the moment she laughed at one of my stupid jokes about champagne glasses, something just clicked. She had this warmth in her eyes, like she actually saw people when they spoke. That night, we talked for hours about our dreams, books we loved, and how neither of us really fit into our family's expectations. It was supposed to be just one of those flings you tell stories about. But 2 weeks later, we were inseparable. She was ambitious, grounded, and had a calmness I needed. I'd been through messy relationships before, girls who either tried to fix me or compete with me, but Claire, she made me feel like I was finally home. We moved in together after a year, and every morning with her felt like winning a lottery I didn't remember entering. After 2 years, I decided to propose. I planned the whole thing during a weekend trip to Mount Rainier. I remember kneeling on a snow-dusted overlook with a view that felt stolen from a movie. Claire's hands flew to her mouth, her eyes welled up, and through tears, she whispered yes. She didn't even look at the ring, she just threw her arms around me like she'd been waiting for that moment her whole life. Her parents were ecstatic. They always acted like I was the perfect son-in-law. Her mom called me her rock, and her dad once pulled me aside to say, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to Claire." I should have seen it then that everyone only saw what Claire wanted them to see. That perfect smile, that calm voice, that quiet talent for being exactly who everyone needed her to be. But I didn't. I thought Kay was the lucky one. I had no idea what was coming. After the proposal, everything moved fast, but not in a chaotic way. It felt like two people finally syncing with their future. Claire dove into wedding planning like she'd been dreaming of it since childhood. Venues, florists, color schemes, she had spreadsheets for everything. She asked me to take the lead on the honeymoon, saying, "You're better at surprises anyway." I liked that she trusted me with something so personal. I spent hours researching. Bali, Santorini, Iceland. I wanted it to be perfect. I finally settled on this hidden eco-resort in the Maldives. Overwater bungalows, private dinners on the beach, even a stargazing deck. I coordinated with the resort to have her favorite flowers waiting when we arrived. Every time I shared a detail, her eyes lit up, but only for a second. Then her phone would buzz, and she'd drift back into whatever group chat or Instagram scroll had her attention. At first, I brushed it off. Wedding stress, I figured. She was juggling family expectations, vendors, bridesmaids. Who wouldn't be a little distracted? But something felt off. She started having more late-night meetings with her best friend Jenny, and sometimes, when I'd walk into the room, she'd flip her phone over like she was guarding state secrets. I told myself I was being paranoid. I didn't want to be that Geetha, insecure, overthinking fiancé. One night, I came home from work early and found her in the kitchen. She looked startled, like she hadn't expected me yet. Her phone was face down on the counter, and when it buzzed, she didn't even glance at it. Just mumbled spam texts and changed the subject. Still, I said nothing. I kissed her on the cheek, told her the honeymoon was booked, and she smiled like everything was fine. But that night, lying next to her while she texted someone past midnight, I couldn't shake the feeling. I was planning the rest of our life, and she was already somewhere else. Looking back, the signs were everywhere. I just didn't want to see them. Claire had always been affectionate, but somewhere along the way, she started pulling back. Hugs felt shorter. Her lips would brush mine without meaning. When I mentioned it, she laughed it off. "I'm just tired, babe." Wedding planning is exhausting, and I believed her. I wanted to believe her. Then there were the outfits. Claire was never flashy, but she started dressing up more tighter jeans, low-cut tops, and new lingerie she never wore around me. I found the tag stuffed in the bottom of the trash can one night. Just trying to feel sexy again, she said when I asked. I kissed her on the forehead and told her she didn't need to change a thing, and she gave me that same gentle smile. The one I used to think was for me. But the worst part, the perfume Claire only wore perfume on special occasions, dinners, weddings, job interviews. Lately, she started wearing it on her girls' nights, and once I caught a different scent on her coat. It wasn't hers. It was some deep, musky cologne, strong and unfamiliar. I held her jacket up like it would confess something. My heart was pounding and my stomach twisted. But when I confronted her, she barely flinched, probably from a hug. Jenny's boyfriend wears way too much cologne. I nodded, smiled even, and then went to the bathroom to splash cold water on my face while trying not to cry. The worst kind of betrayal isn't when someone stabs you in the back. It's when they look you in the eye and lie, knowing you trust them too much to call it out. And every time she told me, "I love you," it started to sound less like a promise and more like a cover dash up. Claire came from one of those picture-perfect families, the kind you'd see in Hallmark movies. Her mom was the type who always had cookies in the oven, and her dad wore sweaters over his shoulders like it was still the 90s. From the start, they welcomed me with open arms. Her mom said I was the kind of man every mother prays for, and her dad would pat my back and talk about how lucky Claire was to have me. I used to feel proud hearing that, like I'd been accepted into some elite club, but slowly, I started noticing how they never questioned Claire, ever. When she forgot her mom's birthday dinner, she's just busy with the wedding. When she snapped at her dad for buying the wrong wine, she's under pressure. She flat out lied to her sister about showing up to a family event and never did. They laughed and said, "That's Claire for you." No matter what she did, they made excuses. She was their golden girl, flawless, untouchable. I remember one weekend when her mom pulled me aside and said, "You're so patient with her. Claire needs someone like you to balance her out." At the time, I took it as a compliment. But now I wonder if it was something Elson's unspoken warning that they knew who she really was, but didn't want to admit it. And it wasn't just them. Her friends worshipped her. Bridesmaids posted about how she was the glue of their group, the most loyal woman they knew. The Claire I knew, one I was starting to question, was being praised like a saint. Everyone loved her. Everyone believed in her, and in that sea of blind admiration, I started to feel like the only one seeing the cracks. But even I didn't know how deep they went. It happened on a Sunday morning. Claire was in the shower, humming some Taylor Swift song while I cleaned up the kitchen. Her phone buzzed on the counter. Normally, I wouldn't even glance, but something about that vibration felt different. Quick, sharp, like it was trying to be discreet. The screen lit up with a message from someone saved as Just T. "Last night was amazing. I still can't believe you're marrying him." I froze. My heart slammed against my chest, and my hands went cold. I didn't touch the phone. I just stared at that one line. Feeling the floor drop beneath me, she came out of the bathroom minutes later, towel wrapped around her, her face glowing from the steam. "Morning," she said, leaning in for a kiss. I kissed her back mechanically, like my brain hadn't caught up with my body. "You okay?" she asked, tilting her head. I forced a smile and nodded. "Yeah, just tired." She didn't notice anything. Or maybe she did and didn't care. I excused myself and went into the bedroom, locked the door, and sat on the edge of the bed, shaking. My mind was racing. Who the hell was T? What did he mean by last night? Had she been with him while I was at my brother's place watching the game? I didn't want to be that Geetha one who snoops or jumps to conclusions. But that message felt like a bomb that had already gone off. I took a deep breath. grabbed my phone, and started taking screenshots of everything I could find. I had no plan, no revenge in mind, just proof. I needed something real, something to anchor me in this storm of doubt. Because for the first time, I wasn't afraid I was wrong. I was afraid. I'd finally found the truth, and it was uglier than I ever imagined. That night, after Claire fell asleep with her back turned to me, I laid in the dark, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding like a drum. I couldn't sleep, couldn't breathe. Every breath she took beside me felt like a lie. Every whisper of "I love you" she'd ever said started to unravel in my head. So I got up slowly, carefully grabbed my laptop. Claire and I had synced our devices months ago so we could share photos for the wedding slideshow. That decision turned out to be the thread that unraveled everything. Asterisk, I accessed our shared cloud drive and started combing through recent uploads. It didn't take long. There were selfies I'd never seen before. Claire in a dimly lit hotel room. Claire smiling in a tank top I didn't recognize. Claire biting her lip, head on someone's bare shoulder. I clicked through them like a man watching his own life fall apart, frame by frame. Then I found the texts archived backups from her phone. Messages with T. His name was Trevor. He was her personal trainer. The guy she said annoyed her, who was too intense and flirted with everyone. Turns out he wasn't just flirting. I love how you look at me when you're on top. You deserve better than a boring tech guy. Can't wait for our next session, in and out of the gym. I copied everything. Screenshots, dates, audio clips, even a short video she'd sent him of her blowing a kiss in our bathroom. I sat back in my chair, numb. My hands trembled as I clicked download all. She'd built an entire secret life just beneath the surface of our shared one. And I hadn't seen a damn thing. She was lying to me in our home, in our bed, and the worst part was, still wanted to believe it was a mistake. I thought I'd reached the bottom of this betrayal. I was wrong. A week after I discovered the messages, I went to return some tux rental samples Claire had ordered. I stopped by Jenny's place, her best friend and maid of honor, figuring she might want to help pick the final look. Jenny opened the door, and her expression shifted the second she saw me. Not surprised discomfort, like she'd been caught doing something wrong. We sat awkwardly in her kitchen. I casually brought up Claire's recent stress and said she hasn't seemed like herself lately. Jenny gave me this tight-lipped smile and said, "Yeah, I think she's just under a lot of pressure." Then she blurted it out. "I know she told you she's been with me the past few weekends, but I haven't seen Claire in almost a month." Okay, silence. I didn't say a word, just stared at her. Jenny backtracked, started rambling about how she didn't want to be in the middle of anything. I left, heart hammering in my chest, palms sweaty, bile rising in my throat. Claire hadn't just cheated. She'd used her best friend as a cover story. Lied with such confidence that even I believed it. That night, I dug deeper, texts to other friends, casual mentions of me in chats she never thought I'd read. And that's when I saw it. A string of messages to another friend, bashing me. "He's too clingy. I feel trapped. I need this wedding to go fast so I can figure out my next move. He's so boring. Trevor makes me feel alive." It wasn't just betrayal, it was a performance. Claire had been building her exit plan, brick by brick, while I built her a life. She wasn't lying to protect the relationship. She was lying to protect her image. After that night, something inside me switched off. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just shut down. I went through the motions like a ghost, nodding at cake tastings, showing up for suit fittings, helping finalize the guest list. Claire beamed through it all, clinging to me like the doting bride-to-be. Every time she touched my arm, it felt like poison seeping into my skin. I knew everything. And she had no idea. I started saving the evidence in a hidden folder, copies of texts, voice notes, pictures, screenshots. I even backed them up on a USB drive and hid it in the lining of my travel bag. I wasn't planning revenge. Not yet. I just needed proof. Proof that I wasn't insane. Proof that I had a right to feel this angry. One evening, we had dinner with her parents. Her mom gushed about how blessed Claire was to have me. Her dad raised a toast and called me the man who makes our daughter whole. Claire looked at me and smiled, touched my hand, and said, "I couldn't do this without you." I wanted to flip the table. I wanted to scream, "You don't even know who she is." But instead, I nodded and smiled. Because I needed time, that night, Claire curled up next to me in bed and whispered, "Only 4 more weeks until forever." And I whispered back, "Can't wait." Not because I meant it, but because I needed those 4 weeks. 4 weeks to prepare. 4 weeks to expose the truth. And 4 weeks to take everything from her. The way she'd taken everything from me the night of the rehearsal dinner was the moment everything snapped. It was held at a cozy little vineyard just outside the city, twinkle lights overhead. Long wooden tables, a live acoustic duo playing soft covers in the background. It looked like a fairy tale. Everyone was there, her parents, mine, the bridal party, friends we hadn't seen in years. People were laughing, clinking glasses, taking photos. And Claire. She was glowing, radiant. She moved through the room like a goddess in a backless, ivory dress. Then came her speech. She stood up, glass of rose in hand, and started talking about how much she loved me. How I'd healed her, how I'd shown her what real partnership means. She told the story of our proposal, how she cried when I got on one knee. Her voice cracked. She looked right at me and said, "There's no one else in the world I'd rather spend forever with." Everyone clapped. Some people even wiped away tears, but I couldn't move because across the room, sitting quietly near the end of the table, was Trevor. Claire had introduced him to everyone as a friend from yoga. He smiled politely, barely made eye contact with me, and sipped his wine like none of it mattered. But I saw it in his face. He knew, and Claire knew I saw him. That night, back at home, I locked myself in the bathroom and sat on the edge of the tub, staring at my reflection. My eyes were bloodshot, my skin pale. I looked like a man hollowed out by love. That was the lowest I've ever felt, knowing I was surrounded by people who adored a woman I no longer recognized, and still being too broken to speak. She lied to everyone. She humiliated me in public. With a smile on her face, and the worst part was, I was still wearing the ring. The morning of the wedding, I didn't get dressed. I woke up before Claire and just stared at the ceiling while she buzzed around the apartment, humming, packing her makeup bag, excitedly calling her mom to confirm timelines. She kissed my forehead before leaving for the venue and said, "I'll see you at the altar, future husband." I smiled and said, "You will." But she wouldn't, because I wasn't going, and neither were my secrets. 30 minutes after she left, I opened my laptop, inserted the USB drive, and scheduled a group email. Recipients: Claire, her parents, her sister, her bridesmaids, her closest friends. The subject line was simple: "Before you call me the groom." Inside was everything. The screenshots, the photos, the iCloud messages, the hotel receipts, the voice notes, a short video of Claire in lingerie in our bedroom, recorded while I was away visiting my mother. And at the end of the email, I wrote, "This is who you've been defending. This is what your forever looks like. I won't be showing up today." But she already has, just not to the altar. Then I packed my bag, grabbed the USB copy, turned off my phone, and left the apartment for good. I didn't need to see the aftermath in real time. I didn't need the apologies, the excuses, the screaming phone calls. I knew the moment that email hit inboxes, Claire's perfect little stage would collapse publicly, painfully, and permanently, as I boarded a last-minute flight out of town. I looked out the window and felt the strangest thing: peace. She lied without consequence for months. But today, I gave her something she couldn't escape. The truth in front of everyone she fooled. When I finally turned my phone back on 3 days later, it nearly exploded. 30-7 missed calls, over 100 texts, voicemails from Claire, her mom, even her dad. Some were furious. Some were sobbing. Some just said, "Please, call us." I didn't. I couldn't. But I did read the messages. Claire tried everything. At first, she played dumb. "What is this? Where did you get these?" Then came the begging. "Please talk to me. I can explain." That quickly turned to anger. "You ruined my life. You embarrassed me in front of everyone." And finally, silence. Cold, aching silence. Asterisk, her mom sent me a long email saying she was heartbroken and ashamed of how Claire had treated me. Her dad said he felt betrayed by his own daughter. I heard from Jenny too, who admitted she'd known something was going on, but didn't think it was this bad. Apparently, when the email dropped, Claire was already in her dress, makeup half done, sipping champagne in the bridal suite. The room went dead quiet. Her sister read the message out loud. One bridesmaid started crying. Another walked out. Her mom slapped the phone out of her hand when Claire tried to play the victim. Trevor. He never showed up to the wedding, never responded to her calls. Some say he ghosted her completely. Others say he blocked her the second the email went viral in their friends' circle. Either way, her world collapsed. Mutual friends told me the venue staff packed everything up in silence. Guests awkwardly left with their gifts. Claire sat alone in the bridal suite for over an hour. Still in her dress, still wearing the ring I gave her. Only now. It meant nothing. The image she built, the perfect daughter, the dream bride. The LOYAL fiancé, it shattered in one click. It's been 8 months since that day. I moved across the country, took a new job, and rented a small cabin near the mountains, ironically, not far from where I proposed. Sometimes I walk the same trails and wonder how I ever mistook that moment for something real. But mostly, I feel peace. Not the kind that comes from forgetting, but the kind that grows from knowing. You finally let go of the person who never truly loved you back. Claire hasn't contacted me since that final message, just for words. I hope you're happy. Funny thing is, I am. I go to therapy. I journal. I picked up photography again. Something she once said was a waste of time. I've reconnected with old friends. I even started dating slowly, carefully. Not because I'm chasing love again, but because I refuse to let her betrayal be the last word in my story. People ask if I regret the way I exposed her, if maybe I should have just walked away quietly. But no. Some betrayals deserve a spotlight. She humiliated me behind closed doors for months, lied with a straight face, kissed me with a mouth that still tasted like someone else. And I gave her every chance to stop, every chance to come clean. She didn't, so I took back the narrative. I let her world see what she tried so hard to hide. And now, I sleep soundly, knowing I never have to hear her lies again. I used to think closure meant forgiveness, but sometimes closure looks like truth. Sometimes it looks like walking away with your head high, while the person who tried to destroy you drowns in their own reflection. And me, I'm just finally free.